Hello everyone and welcome into today's video. We are officially outside of the magical light box where all the magic happens on my channel. But why I wanted to start off with this is I would please ask you to hit the subscribe button before we get into this box, because 51.8% of my quote usual viewers are not subscribed to my channel. And there's nothing usual about my viewers. I find you to be some of the most friendly and exceptional people that are just so fantastic to watch my channel. So if you can, please spread the word. Please hit the subscribe button, because these unboxings, I have 3 more to go that are out on my desk, and you won't want to miss any of them. So thank you so much. Let's get right into this box without further delay. So again, I just want to thank all of you for your time and your attention in these unboxing and discovery videos. Like I said, I have so many more to go, but there are 3 out on my desk that I do need to get to. One of which had this incredible diamond ring. And I'm going to talk about this in some coming videos, so stay tuned for that. And then also wait to see this. So I couldn't believe this. This was in another container, and I thought, how did this happen? Look at these turn of the century lace pins. Those are platinum, 18 karat gold, and gemstone little tiny lace pins from the turn of the last century, circa 1900 to 1918. So stay tuned for those. Now, I am going to zoom in, but I just wanted to show you, because everyone says, let me get my little rag here. They say they love to see how incredibly dirty these boxes are, because where they come out of, look at this. So if you don't think this is a genuine unboxing, I don't know how else to prove it to you. Besides, I am not afraid of dust and dirt. Now we got that wiped off. I feel much better about that. Let's zoom in and let's go right about there. And then what I will do is I will pull this drawer out. There's a single drawer in the front of this box, and we'll pull this out. And I guess what we could do is move the box out of here and then replace it with that drawer. Let's scoot that back and get all that dust and dirt out of the frame. So I guess what I'd like to do is just kind of go through. Now, I was familiar with a little bit of the contents inside of this box, because the family had said they found jewelry all over the house. They said we found it everywhere. And I said, okay, and they consolidated it down, some of which I saw, and a lot of it which I didn't. So again, if there's some surprises along the way, things that I need to test, I always set aside, and then we'll get into that later. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming in. The Gorham Company, New York, and it's a tiny little paper box. Oh, from Aunt Agnes. Let's see what Aunt Agnes left to the family. Officially nothing. So she left them cotton. Aunt Agnes was, she was thrifty, is all I can say. Glad she didn't throw that box away, because even an empty Gorham box that way, I still get between $10 and $12 a piece for the older boxes. Probably was used for a pocket watch, so I will set that aside in case I find a watch inside of the box. As you know, I've been doing this for over 30 years of my life. I used to go to the thrift stores 2 to 3, even 4 or 5 times a day. This is probably Florenza and not complete. Yep, that is Florenza. They always did that kind of Victorian style, missing a ton of stones. And that's only a partial off of something. Probably a bracelet or a necklace, more than likely. So that's just costume. But again, I can claim the stones out of it. Same thing on this one. Missing one of the large jewels and a few of the smaller jewels. I will be doing videos on restoration and repair. Also how to clean vintage rhinestones. Just my way. You know, what I've been doing, because after all, that's what I went to school for. And as an artist, wow, is this one dirty? Wow, that is super, super dirty. But look, someone tried to repair that one already. They couldn't match the stones. That is likely from either Austria or Germany. Could be Czechoslovakian as well. A lot of origins on these. Let me take a quick peek. No, it's German. So there you go. Signed, made in Germany. And I would say on that one, if restored, I know I could get some pretty good money, because the color purple in rhinestones always sells. Whole bunch more rhinestone pieces that are just partials. This one is Les Bernard. I could do a whole lecture series on Les Bernard jewelry. That is a donor piece, because there's just too many rhinestones missing to do a restoration on this, so I will just use this as a donor brooch to then fix and restore other rhinestone pieces. So that's just going to be a donor brooch. And oh, this one though, no, Victorian on this one. This one's an early version. That is some sort of silver and gilt metal, likely rock crystal, but I will test the stones. But those most certainly look rock crystal to me. And let's go in on here. Yeah, I hope that one is here in the box somewhere. So I've had several like this. That I think I found one in several videos back. So if you're unfamiliar with my sorting videos, you'll want to go to my past videos and take a quick peek. And again, I thank you so much for joining in. I know I'm a lot to handle sometimes. I said to myself the other day, I don't know if I would watch myself on YouTube. I don't know what's in here. Let me take a quick peek and see. Oh yeah, it's safe. Wow. Talk about rhinestones. Yeah. And I got, I think, 4 other little parcels of stones like this out of the house. And if you haven't seen my rhinestone video, please go over to look at the loose rhinestone video. I'll try and remember to put that in the description box. I've been really bad at that as well. I should just come up with that little subscribe button. So, you know, halfway through my video, it just clicks it into the corner. It makes it easy for all of you. But if you could just hit the subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you're not familiar with the second channel, which is Jeremy's channel, let me make sure all these rhinestones go back in here. What's great is that they are in their original parcel. Their tissue paper that was wrapped to keep these safe. Let's see here. Origin on these, it says Rex Importing Company, New York City. That is 303 Fifth Avenue. And machine cut Rex marcasites, even though they're not marcasite. And look, they spelled marcasite different back then. 10 grams. Oh, made in Czechoslovakia. There you go. This would be 8mm. Those are definitely, I would think those are about 8mm. They looked actually a little bit smaller than 8mm, but I'll check that out. Let me move these out of the way because, oh, I gotta go back to this ring. Oh, yeah, we need to talk about this one in a coming video. Yes, we do. Absolutely. We need to talk about that in a coming video. I had one similar to that as well. Jeremy's channel. So if you're not familiar with Bully Run Coffee, this is the easiest way for me to remind you. So where we host our sales, most of the time we'll sell the contents out of these sort boxes. It takes a little while. Usually from the airing of this video, it might take a month or a month and a half, sometimes 2 months. We're not in any hurry because we're out at the flea markets buying every day. We're out at estate sales, auctions, storage units, you name it, thrift stores, you name it. We go every day. Yesterday, I went to 7 different places and I only bought at 4 of them. But boy, the stuff I found, it was a great day of buying. But we do sell on Bully Run Coffee on YouTube. So please go over and subscribe to Bully Run Coffee on YouTube. I'd greatly appreciate it. On to what else we have in here. These are definitely coral. These are for sure Victorian. I would say around 1870, 1880. With a clasp like that, closer to 1880, 1890. A lot of times this was used through the turn of the last century into 1900. See that little ball style there? People can lecture you on the date of these clasps. You can never date a necklace by its clasp. So don't judge a book by its cover and don't date a necklace by its clasp. You'll be making big mistakes. These are definitely coral. Do you see that uneven color? And also those little marks throughout that definitely indicate that these are natural coral. These are likely not color treated. These are likely just, out of the sea this way. And then, completely handmade into these beads. But look at that kind of real salmon orange, very salmon orange color. And what's wonderful about this is most strands are not this long. Most are very, very short, 14 inches, 15 inches, not unheard of. They were smaller stature back then. Finding a graduated necklace this long, this complete, Likely on this one, around $200 to $245 in value. So I'm already, well, let's just say this much. I didn't want to say what I paid for the box, but I'm already ahead. So I got very lucky on this container and very blessed by the family that allowed to share this with me, is all I will say. And if you do watch the video, because I did give you my channel, thank you so much for your generosity and understanding that I'm not only a collector, but a reseller. And I really do appreciate it. You were so fantastic and so nice. And this has here, that's where I stashed it. I did stash this ring in here. This is a platinum and diamond band. Usually in such houses, I have been finding a lot of gold and platinum jewelry lately. These are really lovely, very early cut diamonds. And that one is platinum. Let's go in on the mark. So, oops, let's go in on that. Some are marked differently. My last platinum ring in the previous video was marked differently than this one. And there it is. So you've got your 10% IRID and then PLAT. So that's platinum. Now, I will talk about the 10% and the IRID mark in a future video. So stay with me on that. I'm not going to cover that in this video because it does get quite in depth. If you want some education on hallmarks, gold hallmarks, platinum hallmarks, and silver hallmarks, I have done many videos in my previous videos. I've given a lot of information in my previous videos. I did a Gold Rush live as well. So if you want some additional information on gold and kind of how they mark gold in antique jewelry, please go over to that live video. That will really help you out and help you navigate both marked and unmarked gold. And then we'll get into a platinum one as well. But look at that for a band. And I did ask them, I said, do you want this back? And they said, no, not at all. You know, they had no interest in it whatsoever. And I couldn't believe it because I would have wanted to keep this if this was my family's. I'm always constantly surprised at what families are now deciding not to keep. I had one of these earlier in 2 videos, and this is a single, but this is Dragon's Breath. That is Dragon's Breath in sterling silver, and likely just a drop off of a pendant necklace, but we'll get into Dragon's Breath in another video. But if you're interested in glass jewelry, I also have you covered because I've already done a very comprehensive video on Czechoslovakian glass. So if you want to scroll through the videos and take a look for that, if glass is your thing, I've got you covered. Lots of different little glass parts and components in this. And, oh, and then there is a little puffy heart. And that is a sterling silver puffy heart. Look at that little wishbone. I knew that that was in here, but I didn't see what design it was. There's the engraving on the back with the initials, sterling silver. I've covered these before as well. Years ago, these were going for, $5 to $10. Now they're going for a lot more. If you get an enameled one with a different design, they could be $100 a piece. If it's Walter Lample and it's a birthstone one, it could be $150 by itself. So always pay attention to puffy hearts and sterling silver. Anything that denotes love in jewelry has a great tendency to do very well. Love this old paper box as well. Seen better days. But I just really love that someone was so thoughtful to keep these glass pieces. Now think about the history of jewelry. It was never really meant to be thrown away. Even costume jewelry back then was, revered because it's always been expensive. So people would, throughout history, keep these little stones in components. And I love that fact. And beadwork. Let's go into some of this. I am not exactly sure, but what I would consider Native American Indian, absolutely. I always still revere such objects. I will do a little bit of research on this and get into the age of these beads and what exactly this was used for. I do in my collection have umbilical fetishes that were little turtles that actually were used by the mothers, and the umbilical cord was sewn into the belly of these animal fetishes, and I have 2 of them in my collection. They're very sacred, and a lot of people have always questioned me and said, don't you find these things to be odd or, unusual or disturbing to own? And I said, no, absolutely not. Because if you don't have someone like myself to take care of them in this day and age, what happens with them? So this one is a great size, and I definitely will do some research on this. Definitely a lot of age to this. I would circuit date it to 1900 based on the age of these beads and the way this is constructed. And then there was this as well, and absolutely wonderful. Yes, there's a lot of wear to this at the top, but it's likely a sewing needle case. And the top is missing, but completely covered in these absolutely exquisite electric blue seed beads. So we'll get into this as well. I do have a lot of Native American beaded items, and this is just awesome. For those that love things from outer space, this is a meteorite. And what an amazing thing. Very heavy. I don't know if it's magnetic. Let me double check. Yeah, it's absolutely magnetic. And what's great about this is I may be able to tell the origin. Look how that magnet just goes and sticks right on there. So I might be able to figure out the origin on this one. But that's definitely a meteorite. And when you touch such things, you feel that energy and you feel this. What an incredible piece with this original oxidation. So anyone that loves things from outer space, that have visited our planet, here you go. Absolutely incredible. Look at the form of this as well. That no one cut this or, sliced it and then polished it, but the inside would be remarkable to see kind of that graining that goes on in these amazing and mystical pieces. But again, they just thought that this was scrap metal. They just kind of threw it aside like, it's not a big deal. We'll put that back where it was. I just don't want to move that out of the box just yet. And these, there's 2 strands of these, but sorry that only 1 strand made it into the video. These are carnelian. And what I loved about these is that they are very old. I will do a video on beads, so I'll be bringing these back, but these are very old carnelian. And look at the way these are. Look at the surface and the color and the graining. Absolutely beautiful. Origin we'll get into, age we'll get into. These would be right around 1900 or before. So I can't give you an exact right now. Haven't studied them long enough, but my, the way these are shaped and the way that these are cut and polished, and again, natural inclusions all throughout. So absolutely fantastic. We'll get into origin and stuff later. Oh, this is buried. And look at this one. Yep. There's another one like this that is in green. A lot of these were done by Byron or Randall. So you'll see these signed by Byron and Randall. I will be doing future videos on both of those. Very arts and crafts, but still late 1940s. In through the 1950s based on construction. Solid sterling silver, I don't need to test it to figure that out. These I always sell for between $55 and $75. If they are signed by one of the makers, they could elevate to about $85 or $95 for a value. Oh, and on the stone beads, I don't think any price would make me happy. I really don't. I think those might be a keep. And that's the beautiful part of this, is that I get to keep such things. Most boxes have little parts and components that go to the bottom, and a lot of the parts and components you'll see were bottled up and boxed up. So they did my job for me. This one's great. Early Navajo, stamped sterling silver. Look at that for a clothing button with the copper shank that has been soldered down. It is signed here. We'll get into the hallmarks and I'll take a quick peek. I would say on this one, late 1920s. Could be slightly earlier, but not by much on that specific button. And then these 2 jade pieces, both were left to the siblings. And neither wanted either of these jade. I consider them jadeite. This is more of an ice jade or ice jadeite. And this one is what we would normally consider the green jadeite. But look at the color variation of how that goes bluish green into that yellow green. And that's a natural, gorgeous stone with that completely beautiful pierce work and deep carving and that kind of abstract floral. These make me very, very happy. Now, let me slow you down on jade and jadeite. There's a big difference. Again, I'll do a versus video very soon. So a jade versus jadeite, both in color, form, polish, carving, and value. We'll talk about age. We'll talk about importance. I recently had a bead sell. I don't want to say at national auction, but what I will say is I'll just leave it and say auction. I did have a jade bead sell for over $3,000. One single jade bead. And I was stunned. I do have a second jade bead that I bought at the flea market either last summer or the summer before for $5. I think that one has the potential to go around maybe $7,000 to $9,000 for one single jade bead. So just remember, there's a lot of value in carved stones, especially Asian and Chinese. So just remember, slow down when you get to it. These two are not that important. I would say more along the lines of, on their best day, a few $100s a piece, on their very best day, based on color, form, age, and the way that they are carved. They are pierced out at the top to wear as a drop style pendant on a silk cord. But wow, just absolutely exquisite. And the translucency is wonderful. So please slow down when you get into carved jades. You might be very surprised. I'm going to move this out because I don't want that to hit anything else. Now, there's two things in here. I don't know where the other piece went to this, but there was another piece to this. This is a single 14 karat gold earring. I think this one is marked. Let me make sure I'm telling you correctly. Now, where did my loop go? I just had my jeweler's loop out on my desk, and now it's gone. Boy, let me pause and I'll be right back. You would be laughing so hard right now. So I was looking all over. I got really frustrated. I said a really bad swear word. And then I looked at the top of the light box and it's sitting right in front of me. So anyways, I went in and I looked. I thought it was marked here 14 karat. It's not. It's marked down in there 14 karat. So that, in fact, is 14 karat white gold. There you go. 14K. Also, I wanted to bring up again, if you ever see something marked 14KP, that doesn't mean it's plated. Sometimes, and most of the time, it means carat plum, and that would be K-A-R-A-T, and then plum, P-L-U-M-B. Carat plum was guaranteed to be 14 karat because it was never alloyed before the first time alloying it. Okay, so I know that's a little confusing, but just remember, if you see the 14KP, slow down because it probably means carat plum, which is a great thing because it's guaranteed to be no less than 14 karat gold. Sometimes 14 karat gold is like 13.5 karat gold. And they're not trying to, be dishonest, but because it had been alloyed before. Some things that are even contemporary jewelry, that gold has been reclaimed and realloyed over hundreds of years, So anyways, at least let that be a lesson. Now this one's 14 karat gold, little diamonds, and a gigantic cultured pearl. I don't think there's a mate to this, unfortunately. I really don't. Anyways, just a great screwback earring from the late 1950s, just in gold alone. That's probably, let me put it on my scale. This would probably be, let me turn my scale on. Let's see here. It's gonna be, and if you take off a little bit for the pearl, it weighs 2.9 grams. So on the pearl, that'd be hard to guesstimate, but let's just say it's just over 2 grams of gold. That's $100 these days, just for a single gold earring. If you find that in a jewelry jar, you could pay for the whole jar with one single gold earring. Like I said, normally there's a lot of little shrapnel pieces and parts in the bottom, and they consolidated it down into this bottle and this box for me. So I didn't have stuff all over the place. And a lot of times I will recommend, if you're going to go do estate buying, this is B. David, And the stones are just totally shot. But that's rhinestone. Still would be good for restoration. I would still use that for restoration. And this is probably just rhinestone as well. Probably missing, yeah, it's missing a stone. They usually are. But that's a beautiful rhinestone necklace. Nothing wrong with it, but we'll do a whole nother video on rhinestones. And then a watch chain. Oh, this. So I have to do some research. It says that it's an Ohio banner stone, and there's things about it I like and things about it I don't like. I'm not a relic expert. The form is incorrect for a banner stone, but it could have started life much larger, could have started in a different form as a banner stone. I usually like to see conically drilled holes, meaning it's bigger and then it gets smaller as it goes down, and then both sides would meet. So you would drill from this side, drill from this side, and it would meet in the center. So the holes on the outside would be larger. There's something going on with this. There's just something going on. Now, it still might be okay because that is an old label on there, but I mean, the stone is right. But, well, the finish is okay. We're going to have to do some more research, so stay tuned for a further video on this banner stone, what is listed as a banner stone. And it looks as though it says, it just says small banner stone, Ohio, and I don't know what that code is on it. So, but look at the way the surface is on this. Look at there's something going on here. There was another sticker or a label, probably of another collection. This is okay as well. There are things about it I like and things about it I don't like. It feels right in the hand as well. I don't know. That's a mystery item, and something, again, I say slow down. Now, you might say to yourself, why are you making such a big deal about it? Oh, I almost dumped this whole box and I remember what's in here. You might say on the banner stone, why are you making such a big deal? Well, if you have looked up banner stones like the Popeye birds, they're the birds with the pop eyes, the eyes that are bulging out. Some of those go for over $100,000. So that's why you should care about a banner stone. That's why you should, when you get into Native American artifacts, that's why you should slow down. Because I have a Thebes blade in my collection that I once bought for, I think it was like $40. And I just took the chance because I thought this is either right or wrong. And at $40, it's now worth several $1,000s. Like $2,200 to $2,400. So slow down. I also bought a dovetail at Hartville Flea Market, and I bought it for I think $10 or $15, and I bought it as a fake because I was just completely convinced you just don't find a dovetail like what I found, and I bought it as a fake. Every single person who is an advanced collector has told me your dovetail is 100% correct and from Ohio, and it's a very fine example. So again, everyone has their opinions on artifacts, but even I, after all these years of even finding my own, out in fields I was in Rittman not too long ago in a farmer's field, and what a day I had. And the things I found, I could do a whole bunch more videos on that. I know I just took your breath away with this box. Now, I am going to pour some of this out, or what I will do is, I could do this in a future video, but just let me show you. This is just incredible. So it had been rumored that one of the heirs, or what I guess I should say, one of the ancestors and one of the distant relatives worked at a jewelry store. They worked in a jewelry store, and I guess at the closing of the jewelry store, they were able to buy different items out of the jewelry store, and they bought a lot of loose stones. This was only one of the remaining parcels that was there at the house. I know that there are diamonds in here. I know that there are fine jewels in here. I know there's crystal and rhinestone and glass and faux turquoise and some opals and little findings and little pieces, parts. So we could do this in a separate video, and I can absolutely bring this back on and dump it all out. But I guess what I could do is just show you a little bit. Boy, I don't like dumping it into this lid because the lid is broken. Give me 1 sec. Again, I'll be right back. All I can say is thank goodness for obsessive buying on eBay. I just got an eBay box in the mail, and this lid is going to be perfect for this. So all I'm going to do is just dump out a little bit, and show you kind of what we're going to get into, because I got to leave the rest of this in here so you come back for another video. Look at what we're going to have to go through. The pieces and parts and cutoffs and components, little metal pieces, probably some gold. Look how small some of these stones are. So if you're into stones and you're into a true hunt kind of situation, like a discovery video, this could be a video all its own. So I will put this here. I will put the lid on this. We will move this out, and look at that for that drugstore box. Isn't that incredible? Wow, from Philadelphia. That's an old box as well. I just get so into all these little artifacts from our history. I just go completely crazy. Jump rings. This also came in from the closed out jewelry store. Who doesn't need a vial of jump rings? Are you kidding me? Gold, silver, brass, gold filled, you name it, it's in there. And I said to myself, yep, that's gonna come in handy. A lot of times what I've said before in past videos is some of the smallest and most insignificant things are some of the most important to me. A whole big jumble of chains. So, and this owl came right along with it. A whole big jumble of chains. I'm gonna have to go through all these and check it out. I don't know why this is stuck on here. I guess maybe what I should do is see if I can get that out of here. And I don't like fumbling around with such things in my video. I don't know why this is like this. It wasn't when I put it in here from the house. So, and I don't want to stay on too much longer. I wanted to keep this at, let's just unpin this and get it over with. I wanted to stay on about 30 minutes, and here I go. Boy, that's really stuck in there. I wanted to stay on around 30 minutes, and I'm already over my limit. And a lot of people have said, no, stay on for like an hour. And I'm like, I can't. I have to get into my studio and create. I have some things out on my desk. Let me put this back in here. Boy, I sure hope that's gold. What is this? See, look, I'm like distracted by all those are diamonds. That was off of a service pin. Uh-oh, that was off of a service pin. Is that gold? Boy, it sure looks like it is. Those are little diamonds. And that is off of a service pin. So they would solder the service pin down to this. That was probably 40 years of service. See, you get a little tiny bad diamond for every 10 years you worked somewhere. But what do you get now if you work somewhere for 10 years? You probably get nothing. You probably get a high five, and probably not even that. You probably get written up for telling off the customers. So this is lucite. And this is the owl brooch, and I had known of this for a long time. I had one very, very similar years and years and years ago that I had worn on my jean jacket. And I think it's still pinned on there. It's not exactly the same, but look at the mixture of materials. So why I'm attracted to vintage costume jewelry is it was courageous. It was bold. It was innovative. Look, they took clear lucite, carved it, inset these Czechoslovakian glass eyes, and then sterling silver furrowed brow with these little, the little owl horns with the beak there, and then feet on a branch in solid sterling silver riveted together through the lucite. Not just glued on there. Then they soldered the pin back on. So think about what they had to go through to create this little guy. And then once it's pinned on the fabric, I've shown you before in these brooches, it picks up. Why is that stuck again? It picks up. Oh, I see why. Because it's a little corroded because it hadn't been worn forever. But look how it picks up the color of your fabric that you're wearing. If you were to wear this on a different color, like, oh, here's my jeweler's loop that I was using the other day. I got this old-fashioned, awesome jeweler's loop, by the way. So look. You could turn him into a red if you were wearing a red shirt. Look how that belly pushes and pulls the light. Incredible and whimsical. On such a brooch like this, because of it being an owl, I don't know the maker on this one. It's probably signed. It's definitely signed sterling somewhere. But I would say on this one, boy, oh boy, to a jelly belly or an owl collector or lucite jewelry or just a person who loves amazing and whimsical old jewelry. This is from the late 40s into the 1950s on this version. I would say probably like $375 to $495. I think that would be a great retail price. I don't think this is a very common version. At least I've only seen it, I think 3 other times. And I think the other one that I have, the owl's eyes are different. Oh, and then this. I knew this was in here. And of course it's stuck on a plated chain. Let me get this off of here. I'm gonna have to check all these chains off camera. Look at that for a Victorian Victorian locket, solid sterling silver, likely Birmingham. I'll do some research on the mark there. Probably Birmingham, definitely English. And how do I know? I'm just that way. And then I had one exactly like this with the fitted compartment on the inside. Likely contained, some sort of relic back then, but I had one exactly like it. And I just love these. Hand engraved with the sparrow. Absolutely beautiful, absolutely wonderful. And I'm so glad that I have it. And then a very cool glass jewel. Really super cool. Just a random glass jewel that probably fell out of one of the boxes. Oh, and this was also fantastic. Natural pearls, and some are set in 14 karat gold. So those little tiny end caps were probably earrings, and maybe the other pearl earring, broke, and they took the metal with it. So that might be the other pearl earring that didn't survive time. But those are beautiful pearls in this little tiny vial. Again, isn't that container really epic with that old cork stuck in there that definitely does not want to come out? But isn't that awesome? And then a compass. And I'll get into this later. I think that'll do it for this video. Besides, I gotta sort these chains. I have to go through this and I have to sort these chains because you know how it is. You know that I'm gonna find some gold in this. I'm definitely gonna sort that off camera. I just want to say thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate your time. Please subscribe to my channel. Please go over to Bully Run and subscribe. And I'll leave it with this. I love you because I do.